So they say that Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, but here at the Brewery Underground Podcast, I don't know, I'm going to say that Oktoberfest season is the most wonderful time of the year. So Steve Sullivan here, along with the Chancellor of Craft Beer, Scott Touron. How are you?
Man, great. How are you? And I concur with you, by the way.
Yes.
Oktoberfest is better than Christmas.
Well, I don't know if it's better than Christmas, but it is a great time of the year.
Yeah.
The most wonderful time of the year for a lot of craft beer lovers and beer lovers. Hey, can I call myself the Chancellor of Oktoberfest beer on this episode?
Maybe you can. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can be you can be the Chancellor of Oktoberfest.
That's right. Thank you. We are doing a Oktoberfest episode today because as it is Oktoberfest season, and our last episode was with our good friend Scott Murdy of Nashville Brewing Company. We did that at Blackstone Brewing, and you can go back and listen to that episode because we had a lot of fun with him, and he was really talking about the history of Oktoberfest. So on this episode, we're gonna be talking to some folks about what Oktoberfest means to them, some events going on and things like that. But Scott, what we're going to do, you and I, during this episode 2, is we're actually going to be drinking various Oktoberfest beers. And we've talked about doing this, but we have not told each other which beers we're going to drink. So we went out, we picked out different variations of our own Oktoberfest of what we wanted to try, what we wanted to choose. There really wasn't a whole lot of this is the reason why, maybe for one that I chose, but wanted something different.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is we both have 4, and we're going to chop this up into 4 little segments. It's going to go over a period of an hour, roughly, when someone listens to this. But for us, it's going to be back to back to back to back. So these 4 beers are going to go down fairly quickly, I'm guessing.
I'm guessing, yeah, definitely. Well,
sure. This in real time. So I've got my 4 right up here next to me in a cooler because we're going to be here for a little bit.
We are, and we're going to.
I am ready to go.
And we're going to rate our beers at the end and figure out which one we like the most. It may be a tie. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yep, let's do that, and we may have various reasons for doing it.
I have the Hofbrauer Oktoberfest beer. Right?
That is excellent. And let me, I'm going to got to guess why. Why don't you tell me why you chose that beer, Steve?
Well, I saw it the other day, and it reminded me of the Hofbrauer House in Newport, Kentucky, where I've been probably about a dozen times. And I saw this in a bottle or a 6-pack the other day, and I said, you know what? Perfect to kick off on an Oktoberfest episode. How about yourself?
Now let me show me that bottle if you don't mind. Now, what you might not know about that, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So you remember when Scott mentioned there are 6 breweries at the Munich Oktoberfest that participate?
Yes, sir.
That is one of them, sir. So I didn't. That's why I asked. I didn't know if you knew that was one of them. Very good. And because great minds think alike, I am starting with the Spaten, which is another one of the original and the 6 Oktoberfest beers in Munich at the actual Oktoberfest. So great minds think alike.
I'm telling you.
For both of us to start. I'm gonna.
Here we go. Well, cheers to you, sir.
Cheers to you. I got to guzzle because we got another segment coming up here real quick. No. All right,
man, it is good.
It tastes like Oktoberfest, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. If you want the traditional Oktoberfest beer, you got to go for it.
That's a good place to start. So now we're in the mood. We're in Oktoberfest mood. Not that we haven't been, but for this podcast.
And that's for this podcast, we are in the mood. And I'll tell you what, I am going to test your knowledge during this episode on how much you really know about Oktoberfest and Oktoberfest beer and Oktoberfest things related. So you ready for some trivia questions?
I am, and I bet I get worse as this goes on. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is going to be multiple choice for you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is going to be multiple choice. So, all right. So here's a trivia question for you. A stein will typically cost you about how much? Is it A, about €1 each, or is it B, about 9 to 10 euros each? Is it C, about 25 euros each, or is it D, about 50 euros each?
I know this.
Okay.
It's B, 9 to 10.
Yay! You got it. Have another drink.
All right. We all drank because of that.
Mm-hmm. Have another beer, my friend. Have another drink. All right.
Good.
Okay, here we go. Here's another one. And I'm not going to try to pronounce these names in German, but I should have, and I should have done my research. I'm telling on myself. Which of the following is not a food usually associated with Oktoberfest? Is it A, grilled chicken? Is it B, huge pretzels? Or is it C, pork knuckles? Or is it D, fried calamari?
I'm going out on a limb here. I'm gonna guess fried calamari is not at the Oktoberfest.
You are correct, sir.
Wow.
You're doing pretty good at this so far.
All right, yeah.
Have another drink.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
All right. So here is another trivia question for you. Which animals do not participate in the Oktoberfest costume and Rifleman's Parade?
All right.
It's not us. Is it you and I? No, that's
no, because we're not participating.
That's right. And by the way, this is in the tradition of in the old country when they have the big Oktoberfest. Is it A, cows, B, goats, C, thoroughbred horses, or D, llamas? Which animals do not participate in the Oktoberfest costume in Rifleman's Parade?
I'm gonna go cow.
Oh man, you are going to go cow. No.
What?
It is
sure?
It is llamas. It's llamas.
Sure, that makes sense.
I know. So this is obviously the festival that goes on every year in Munich, and that's what Scott Murdy on the past episode was talking about. So there you go. There are some trivia questions for you. Stay tuned. We will bring you more in just a couple of minutes, but we also want to talk about some Oktoberfest events that are going on around Nashville that you have some information on, my friend.
Yeah, man. So on our website, and we've put this on our social media a couple of times, we have a page called 2024 Nashville Beer Festivals, and it went as a whole, but now that we're in kind of Oktoberfest season, more concentrated this time of year. So we are in September, and I'm going to skip all the ones that we've already had, but coming September 14th. Place you and I like a lot. Common John Brewing Company's got a beer fest. That's a big deal out there. So that's September 14th. Let's see. Nashville Brew Fest. I think it's more of a beer fest, not necessarily Oktoberfest. It's September 20th. That is at the the Nashville Sound Stadium, First Horizon Park. But East Nashville Brewing has got an Oktoberfest September 21st. Eastoberfest is what they call it.
Yep.
That's a little hard to say. Phala Force has got an event September 21st, 22nd. They're calling it Phala Force Oktoberfest. Fat Bottom has got one September 27th. They've got an Oktoberfest.
Well, stand by, because coming up, we're going to tell you more events going on around the Nashville area and Middle Tennessee. And we're also going to talk about where you can go, one stop, one resource you can go to find Oktoberfest events. Where do you go? We'll tell you in a few minutes. But right now, we have Grayson Miller, the owner of Crazy Gnome Brewery here in Nashville. He talks all about what they do during Oktoberfest season. Talking about Oktoberfest season, which is here, and Crazy Gnome Brewery, a big brewery in Nashville. Grayson Miller, the owner, is here with us. And Grayson, I know that you're a big guy probably when it comes to Oktoberfest at your brewery, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
We love Oktoberfest. It's one of our favorite times of the year. It's fun. People embrace their either real or made-up German heritage and drink some incredible lagers. My favorite style might be the OG Märzen style. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to knock the Fest beer. I think it's incredible as well. But I love the history of the style. I look forward to seeing how everyone interprets it every single year. It's a fun time.
I'm half German on my mom's side, so I can claim a good German heritage. But no, I love the Oktoberfest. And do you think it's something that you see more people coming in and requesting during Oktoberfest season?
Oh, yeah. September 1st, people are beating down the doors wondering when your Fest beer or Märzen beer is dropping. And you've got to have an answer. And, this is one of those rare times where consumer demand and brewers' demand are completely in sync. Brewers want to make tasty, crispy lagers, and finally, the public just wants tasty, crispy lagers.
Yes, they're in that mood, right? And fall beers are just the best beers anyway. They're top to bottom.
Absolutely. It's a fun time.
I think when we've laughed about the one, I guess you would say it's almost a commercial beer. I love different brands of Oktoberfest, but I love Sam Adams. I love their Oktoberfest.
That's a classic.
I think it's great, right? It gets earlier and earlier every year that it comes out.
Yes. We, over here at Crazy Gnome, have drawn our line in the sand, and it is mid-September. And that's it. We're keeping in line with Germany in that regard. And, somebody's going to beat us to the market. Everybody wants to be first to market with their delicious Oktoberfest. But we're going to drink them when they're ready.
Exactly. And they're going to be there later in the season, too, when the other ones are gone away. The winter beers have come in, and it's still Oktoberfest season. So I appreciate that about you guys doing that.
Yeah.
What will you guys make over there? What will you brew?
So we do our classic Märzen style, and that is Auf Deutsch bitte, which means in German, please. If you've ever taken a German class in high school, your teacher has definitely said this to you at some point. You've been asking, can I go to the bathroom? Auf Deutsch bitte. And
that's great.
So that was that's the name, and the identity behind it is just trying to get as close as we can to that traditional Munich Märzen style that we've all come to love.
Have you changed it up over the years, or you've had the same thing?
It's been mostly the same. We've tweaked it here or there. We've played with the water chemistry. We've gotten rid of the crystal malt. No crystal malt in this one. We want full caramel, but we want to do it the German way, which does not embrace those types of malts. Those are more British. So we are proud to say that all those caramel notes that you're getting is just twists on different types of roasts and fermentation activity.
Well, this is exciting. So you actually have to start brewing this in March, do you not?
Technically, yes. Yeast today is a little more advanced than it was back then. We get started early, though. We get started in July.
Okay.
That's how I'm celebrating the 4th, is brewing our Märzen.
Very nice.
That's true, though. The history of the style is it's a Märzen because März means March in German. And What did you do in September? Well, you had a big celebration because what you were celebrating is, number one, the harvest, and number two, the end of summer, which meant that the temperatures outside were finally falling back to lager temperatures. So all the breweries had two things. They had the right temperature to make lagers, and they had an abundance of grain fresh from the harvest that they needed to quickly turn into something that would last the rest of the year, so they could finally start brewing again. The problem is they had beer that they made from the last end of the brewing season, March, hanging around. So let's just throw a drinking party, a kick the keg party. That's what it was. Let's get rid of all the March beer and let's call it Oktoberfest, because that's about when we needed to start brewing again. And, very quickly, the fest outgrew the need to kill these March beers, and that's when we enter in the fest beer style. The fest beer style is the new kid on the block. A couple hundred years old at this point, but it's still the newer one because it was in response to the intense needs and desires from these outrageous Oktoberfest celebrations that were occurring, and they needed more beer. So the fest beer is brewed for Oktoberfest, but Oktoberfest was created to kill off any remaining Märzen beer. So that's why we have the two beer styles, and we still have them today.
It's a good explanation, because I know they're different. Sometimes to me, I know they're similar, but they run together, at least in my mind, but they're not. I'm glad it was a good explanation.
That's the explanation. Typically, you'll see the Märzens be ever so slightly darker, maybe a little higher alcohol content, really embracing that caramel prominent flavor. The fest beers are going to be closer to the German-style Pilsner, but less hoppy. And so they're going to be a little lighter in color, a little less caramel notes. But there are enough hamlets and enough small towns in Germany making enough versions of these two beers that when we, the American brewers, try and imitate those, we can really say we have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
And so that's the historical context of the styles. It's not necessarily the flavor context. You can definitely find people willing to die on the hill that explanation is wrong, and there's another explanation that's more correct.
Sure.
That's okay, though. Oktoberfest 101 from Grayson Miller from Crazy Gnome Brewery. We appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Welcome back to the Brewery Underground Podcast, where we are talking all things Oktoberfest during this episode. Scott Touron, the Chancellor of Craft Beer. Steve Sullivan, I am calling myself the Chancellor of Oktoberfest Beer during this episode. And Scott, on our first segment there, well, we had one beer that we kicked off with. I kicked off the Hofbrauer Oktoberfest beer, and you had...
I've got the Spaten Oktoberfest.
Yeah, the Spaten Oktoberfest. Well, Yep, and we're going to rate at the end of this podcast which one we like. And now we're going to kick off our second one that we're going to rate during this podcast.
What will it be?
What will it be? What is behind door number 2? This is one I've not had. It was recommended to me that it's pretty good. I have the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest beer right here. Not had it before.
Yes, sir.
And I'm looking forward to trying it now. What you got, my friend?
And read the front of the can, because it's a collab with, I think they do a different collab every year with someone.
It's I believe, Gutman.
Yep,
a collab with Gutman.
that's it. I think that's the 2024 version. All right,
Love
cool.
it.
Let me reach into the cooler here. This is good. This is a random one. Oh, I picked this up yesterday at Party Source in Kentucky. This is the High Grain Brewing Company Fest Beer Lager.
Ooh, all right.
It's called Meadow, I guess is the name of it. It says Fest Beer Lager there on the front. So this is from High Grain, and we've not had much. I've not had much from High Grain.
And I have not had that one, so looking forward to it. So here we go. I'm going to try the Sierra Nevada, the Oktoberfest here. Here we go. Not bad. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I've had that one this year.
It tastes like a traditional Oktoberfest beer.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah,
All
this
right.
high grain. Yep,
What do you
this
think of
high grain is really good. Mm-hmm. Very malty.
Yep.
Very crisp.
Malty. Yeah.
Malty. Very
Malt.
Oktoberfest light. It's very malty.
And very malty.
Yep. Even says it on the can. Look at that. It's really good. It's actually 6.2%, which I think is fairly high for an Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So very good, very smooth. I enjoyed it a lot. This is going to be ranked fairly high in.
I would say so. Yeah. The Sierra Nevada here is a 6%. So I was told to go get this, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I would say it is pretty good. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I saw the Sierra Nevada out way before, a couple days before Oktoberfest season officially began, whenever that is. Because we've joked about that, on the previous podcast, and even with Scott Murdy, how Oktoberfest season starts earlier and earlier every year. I think I saw the Sierra Nevada out. It was like the end of July. It was like the last weekend, and it may have even been out before that.
And there was a lot of it. Everywhere you went had it, whether it be Kroger or the liquor store. It was everywhere. Mm-hmm. Because you can recognize those cans, that yellow and black label you could see from across the room.
Yeah, which brings up the question, we know that Oktoberfest normally starts, for a lot of people, it's like around early to mid-September.
Mm-hmm.
When does it end?
Oh, boy. Is this one of your trivia questions?
No, it's just a question.
Well, I guess it goes through mid-October.
Yeah?
I guess.
Yeah, when does it end?
Officially.
I'd be curious to know, for people that end up listening to this episode, you can reach out to us. When does Oktoberfest end for you? For some people, it goes all year long. It's the greatest time of the year, right?
Yeah, except if the criteria is when the Oktoberfest beer goes away.
Yeah.
So in this area, it's pretty early.
Yeah.
To your point, it comes out early, it's gone early. And that's a shame, because
maybe because of either peer pressure or my own pressure, I probably will drink Oktoberfest if I still have some. And a lot of times I have like Sam Adams sitting in my refrigerator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would say the end of November, early December, I go, all right, I guess it's time to move on.
You finish them up?
Yeah. I guess
we've got
so.
A buddy, our buddy Calvin. He likes to buy a couple of cases of, and then he'll keep a case to last him through next season.
Yeah, I know.
So that he has it all year long.
Well,
good on him, Come about May, you start busting out some Oktoberfest,
I can't speak for everybody out there, but I'm going to on this episode. No, I'm just kidding. However, for me anyway, Sam Adams does it right when it comes to Oktoberfest. They get it right. I think they have one of the better out there for a lot of the brands that produce a lot of beer. I think they do some really good Oktoberfest.
It's a very good national commercial brand, and it's solid, and it's probably a lot of people's introductory to Oktoberfest.
I think that's a good summary, but if it is, you're getting a really good beer. You're getting a really good beer. So they do it
now,
right.
I could say, and because I picked up, I was telling you earlier, I think I picked up 6 or 7 new Oktoberfest beers just yesterday that I'd never had before, not to mention some of the ones I already had in the fridge. And I don't have Sam's in there anywhere, not for any reason other than I've got so many others.
That's right.
Get Sam's anytime I need it.
I know, that's the thing. It's like you know where to find it. You can go anywhere. And if you have not had others, that's what you want to do as well. Hey, I got some more trivia for you. Are you ready?
Okay. All right,
okay, so this is based on the big Oktoberfest event that they have every year in Munich, Germany. So we have some other trivia questions for you. According to the rules of Oktoberfest at that event, the beer must be A, saluted by the crowd, aged in a barrel for 15 years. C, from one of Munich's 6 breweries. Or D, oh, I love this one, accompanied by a giant pretzel. What is your answer, sir?
Well, as much as I want D to be true, in most cases it probably is when people are ordering beer, they get the pretzel to go with it. I'm going to go with C, that it has to be from one of the 6 breweries in Munich.
I would say C is correct. That's what it says in front of me. So, yes, C is correct. I would also say that one of the rules of Oktoberfest in Germany is that Scott Murdy has to be there.
Yes, I don't think they start it without him being there.
No, I don't think so. Scott Murdy has got to be there. Hopefully he hears this episode and he cheers us on because we love him to death. All right.
Hey, yeah, he's a big supporter of us too. He always appreciates
He is.
us. I can't wait to hear. I was there. I can't wait to hear the episode. I've not heard it since we did it.
All right. Here is another question for you.
All right.
Why do they call it Oktoberfest if it's really in September? Is it A, a practical joke to confuse tourists? B, the weather was better in September? C, the first one took place in October? Or D, both B and C?
Both B and C.
Look at you. Did you already know what I was going to ask you? Is that why you got this right?
I didn't know. I missed one previous in the previous.
Okay. All right.
No, it made sense. Well, you know what? And I could tell you because I remember bits and pieces of what Scott was telling us. So those I remembered some of that. So.
And that's right. If you are listening to this Best of Oktoberfest episode and you have not heard the previous episode that we did with Scott Murdy of Nashville Brewing Company, go back and listen to that episode because it was absolutely fantastic.
Yep. He's a great dude.
All right. Well, we will hit you up with some more trivia coming up in just a couple of minutes. So let's also talk, Scott, about some other Oktoberfest events going on around Middle Tennessee during Oktoberfest season.
All right, Steve, September 28th, Oakland's Mansion Oktoberfest in Murfreesboro. Have you heard of this before?
I have not heard of this before.
I hadn't either, and this is the 10th annual one. So it came across my radar somehow, maybe social media or something, but there's a lot of home brewers as vendors in this one, which looks really cool. We discovered a lot of brewery names from the list that's on here that we will be reaching out to and talking to. So that looks really cool. September 28th it's Oakland's Mansion. I never even heard of the place before, but looks like a cool event. And
I think our friend, not to interrupt, but I think our friends from Panther Creek are going to be there.
Okay.
I believe in Cedar Glade. I saw that. Some of those folks are going to be down there as well.
I think I do know. Let's see, Dog Road Brewing, who we've had on the podcast, they're going to be out there, and some ones we hadn't heard of as well. So good chance maybe we can get out there too. That would be interesting to go out. And it's like 4 to 8 p.m. So it's an evening kind of thing too. So they're really cool. And then another big one in Nashville is the Nashville Oktoberfest, October 3rd through the 6th. Obviously multiple days, like an Oktoberfest would be. This takes place out there at the Bicentennial Mall, which I've never been to, and it's one of those things where it's $10 for the day, and kids and stuff can go, and cool things. So one of our favorite places, Nashville Brewing Company, has got their Oktoberfest October 5th, and you and I will definitely be in attendance on that one.
Absolutely.
That is the Blackstone Brewing Company.
And Scott, we have another guest on the Brewery Underground podcast right now during our Best of Oktoberfest series.
Right. And this wouldn't be a best of if we didn't have this guy on. Our buddy Joel Geier of Brewery Travels. Joel was on episode 30 with us, our episode 30 of the Brewery Underground podcast. Joel had his own podcast at one time, the Brewery Travels podcast. He has social media. He's a book writer. I think he's getting close to publishing that book here by the end of the year. I went back and listened to this episode. He talks about some of the local Oktoberfest events he likes to go to where he lives, some of his favorite Oktoberfest beers, and, which was a really good question, why are Oktoberfest beers so popular?
Why, indeed. You've traveled the country, and I'm sure you've had some good Oktoberfest in parts of America. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. And I've gotten to go to a couple events. I'm actually recording this at my parents' house near the Twin Cities, and one of the really cool events I went to was at Bauhaus Beer Labs, Brew Labs, I think it is, in Minneapolis. It's in Minneapolis, and they put together a huge event every year for the release of I think it's called Schwantoberfest, which is their Marzen, Oktoberfest beer, and huge outdoor festival type event. Really cool, fun atmosphere. The other one that I wanted to mention for sure is my neighborhood brewery, Bavarian Beer House in Glendale, Wisconsin. The closest one to me is on the grounds of it's a German beer hall essentially that's been around forever. And it's a very traditional German Oktoberfest experience. So that one is very, very cool. And but yeah, no, I know we were talking before we started recording how every year it seems the Oktoberfest is kind of starting to creep up earlier and earlier, which isn't, like Scott said, not necessarily a bad thing as long as they stick around, still for the full season. Because yeah, there's certainly plenty of good ones out there.
Yeah, it does. It starts earlier and earlier every year. It seems like a couple of years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7, or 8 years ago, you would see more Oktoberfest in early September. Now it's maybe early August. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, and Sam Adams always seems to be that first one. They want to be out first. We actually talked to somebody about this, and it's a shame because I like summer ale, but then it goes away during the summer. Oktoberfest comes out, which is great. I like that beer, but then it goes away during Oktoberfest, and then the winter beers come on, and then and not so good. But
Joel, do you have besides Sam Adams certainly, and some other brands like that? Do you have some favorite Oktoberfest brands that you really like?
I would say locally in Milwaukee, I would say Lakefront Brewing is one that they're one of the OG Milwaukee craft breweries, and they do pretty much everything well, and their Oktoberfest is no exception. Very traditional, a nice malty background but a hops balance for sure.
So you're a guy that has traveled the country quite a bit and a lot of breweries. Why do you think Oktoberfest is such a popular beer?
That's a good question. And I personally think, because I think it has more to do with kind of the changing into fall, and it has to do with the event almost of an Oktoberfest. Like people think of Oktoberfest, and Oktoberfest, a lot of times those festivals are so much fun. And because it is an interesting kind of cross section, because I have a lot of friends that mostly drink IPAs, but then they will love a good Marzen when the fall time comes. And I think it's the type of beer that it's one of those beers that I think is at the upper echelon in terms of pairing it with a type of weather. And you're pairing it with that shift from warm weather to cold weather. And it's kind of got, like I said, that maltiness, a little more backbone to it. And so it's kind of that shift beer from the warm summer months into kind of getting into the cooler fall months. So I think it just goes with the time of year so well that's what makes it so popular. And on top of that, it's the fact that it's only available for a few months out of the year. I think if it was available year round, you would not see it being as popular even during that time of year, because you could get it whenever you want. Mm-hmm. I think that is what drives the popularity of it to a certain extent, is that it's kind of like back in the early craft beer days when you had a brewery like The Alchemist, and you had to go to their brewery to get their IPAs, or, a lot of those small breweries, you had to go there. And so it was the exclusivity of it. And this is exclusive in the matter of you can only get it during this one specific time of year. So when it is here, the people that do like it drink a lot of it. And so I think that's what kind of drives the popularity when people think of it like that.
Are there certain parts of the country that you have seen like Oktoberfest events or Oktoberfest, on tap at breweries, more than others that it seems like, more popular in those areas?
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin's obviously one. The German heritage is huge. A lot of places in the upper Midwest, I would say, kind of follow suit. Like I said, being from Wisconsin, I obviously have a bias to my knowledge there, and Oktoberfest is definitely a big deal in and around the Milwaukee area for sure. because we have Oktoberfest, we have Germanfest. You know, there's a lot that kind of goes on with that. I know Michigan, I think, has quite a bit as that as well. So that would be my personal take. But pretty much anywhere at this point, you can generally find some Oktoberfest events. You know, because that's just once that time of year comes around, brewers want to cash in on it. So.
Yeah, and I know we're talking about this on this episode with some others that Oktoberfest Zinzinnati in my hometown of Cincinnati is a really big deal every year.
Cincinnati would be the other. That's another big German beer city right there.
I went there a couple of years ago and with a buddy of mine, and we had our Steins, man. We just we had such a great night at that event, and it's a big deal. And of course, Sam Adams, they have a brewery up there, so it's a great place.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, there's nothing big like that around here in Nashville, but a lot of local places will have something, kind of what Joe was talking about, like have an event to go to. I know Nashville Brewing does a big one because they do
a release at least at minimum, a release of their Oktoberfest.
Have some kind of party and there's some food and stuff. Yep. It's some fun stuff to go to, so you celebrate and you do the whole thing, and it's a lot of fun. I do like the beer. The beer's really good too.
Yeah.
Well, that was our good buddy Joel Geier of the Brewery Travels podcast. Welcome back to the Best of Oktoberfest episode with the Chancellor of Craft Beer, Scott Touron. And I'm the Chancellor of Oktoberfest Beer, Steve Sullivan, here with you. And Scott,
are you feeling those beers yet? We put down. We put down two already.
Put down two of them already. I know it. I've had the Hofbrauer Oktoberfest beer and just tried. That would be the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest beer. Both great. And you've had what again?
The Spaten Oktoberfest, and then Spaten, and from a High Grain Brewing, the Meadow. It's called Meadow Fest Beer Lager. So they're Oktoberfest. So very good so far. Huh? We're hitting on all cylinders.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to our third beer that we're going to try here. And this one from me. Look at that. It's Rheingeist Franz.
Franz.
I got the Franz.
That was very specific, wasn't it? Yes, that's a good one.
Old Franz is going to pump you up with the Oktoberfest beer. Anybody if you remember Saturday Night Live skit,
It's a pump you up.
What do you got? All
right, let's see. I'm going to reach down into my cooler here. And I've got, because I do have the fourth one is on purpose. So this one is Oktoberfest, Bear, by Wanderlinger, which is out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So Oktoberfest, pretty cool. All right, neat little can. That's a picture of a bear drinking a beer. What's your ABV on the one you've got there?
Well, let me take a look. It looks like it is 5.4%.
Okay, that's pretty good. I am not seeing it on this can anywhere.
What?
Nope. I'm sure it's an Untapped.
If only you could look it up somehow.
Let's see. Let's see what the magic of the internet can do.
If only the magic of the internet, you could look it up to see what it is.
The ABV on this one, according to Untapped, is 5.8%.
All right. Well, that's a walk in the park for you then.
Yeah, man. I'll drink this at breakfast.
Hey, go for it, man.
This is really good. This could get you up out of bed in the morning.
There you go. Well, we have been doing some Oktoberfest trivia throughout this episode, and basically this trivia is based on the big Oktoberfest that they do every year in Munich, Germany. Are you ready for some other questions?
Hit me.
True or false? Children are never allowed in the tents during Oktoberfest.
Ooh. True that they're never allowed in the tents.
True or false?
True.
The answer is false. Despite all the flowing beer, Oktoberfest is a family-friendly festival with carnival rides and carousels and roller coasters and many other things. So yes. Yes, indeed.
Well, Must be good to be a kid over there.
I
I guess I don't. There are breweries all over here too. So I guess I thought maybe being under the tent was specific.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I guess not. All right. Here's another question for you. Why did the first Oktoberfest event take place? A, it was originally a horse race in honor of a royal wedding. Was it B, to commemorate the fall of the Berlin Wall? Is it C, in honor of the first giant pretzel being created? Or D, a national excuse for men to don lederhosen?
Another question that I wish the answer were something else. I wish it were D. However, it is not D. It was a horse race honoring a traditional wedding, or honoring a wedding, a royal wedding. Mm-hmm.
Look at you. You pay attention.
I was listening to Scott Murdy.
You were.
That man knows all.
He does. Well, and then the final question is this.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Which city is home to the country's largest Oktoberfest celebration here in the United States? I'm not even going to throw out
You shouldn't waste your breath.
I'm not going to throw it out, because if you don't know this, we are ending the podcast now.
All right. I'm going to guess. Drum roll, please.
Uh-huh.
It rhymes with Cincinnati.
You are correct, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oktoberfest Zinzinnati, which is why I am drinking the Oktoberfest Franz from Rheingeist Brewery, and which is why that leads us into our next guest, our good friend Liz, known in the social media world as Every Day I'm Bubbling from Cincinnati. And we know, because I know, because you know, because Liz, you and I both know, that Cincinnati has a very rich German history. Oktoberfest season is always a big deal. We're into it right now. And, man, one of the bigger events up there, I know you and I have both been to this, Oktoberfest Zinzinnati.
You know, I always laugh because it's called Oktoberfest. It confuses people because we celebrate in September. So not necessarily in the month of October. But yeah, Oktoberfest Zinzinnati is America's largest Oktoberfest and the second largest in the world after Munich. So if you're going to hit up one in the United States, we're the place to be come September 19th through the 22nd this year.
Yeah. So what's been your Oktoberfest Cincinnati experience in the past? How many have you been to?
I've been to a lot. We've gone since I was a kid. You know, there's fun for the whole family. And it's one of those that it's kind of moved around the city. You know, growing up, it was kind of more on Fifth Street, and they would block off Fifth Street. Most recently in the past, it's been down closer by the banks on 2nd and 3rd Street, closer to the river. This year, they are actually moving Oktoberfest to what is known as Sawyer Point or Yateman's Cove. So it's actually going to be right flush up on the river. We have something that's called the Serpentine Wall. It's a wall along the river that has some stairs. So if you are familiar with Cincinnati architecture along the river, it's in between the two bridges of 471 and 75 right along the riverfront. They have a really cool green area, and they are going to actually have a 300-foot large beer tent to hold over 1,000 people. So similar to the tents in Munich on a lawn. So you're really going to get to dive into the real authentic Oktoberfest experience this year.
A lot of German beer and a lot of breweries around town that are also represented with their German beer.
Yeah, we have not only local and regional beer, we also have strictly German beers that are brewed in Germany. You know, they like to hold that close till closer to the event as to who's coming. But in the past, you know, they've had, you know, German beers. They've had Warsteiner. I'm going to mispronounce these, so please. Weinsteppen, Veltins, Radberger, and Spaten. So if I didn't pronounce that correctly, please don't hold me to it. But yeah, and I actually found a really amazing beer through some of those breweries. I had a Rodenberger Schoenhofer Grapefruit Hefeweizen, and that might have been my favorite the last Oktoberfest I went to. It's just a nice fall beer with a little hint of little crispy fruit at the end. So I don't know. I was a big fan. I went back twice, so that tells you a lot. If with all those options there, I got 2 from that tent. So, but yeah, you expect a lot of the local places. Sam Adams is usually a huge sponsor. So a lot of the local breweries are there. You know, they apply in advance, so it depends how far in advance when they can get in because the spots are limited. But you know, breweries from all over Cincinnati are there. So it's kind of a great spot if you haven't tried a lot of these breweries. You can have your own little mini Cincinnati brewery crawl in Oktoberfest. So there's a lot of tents and a lot of beers to try and a lot of food to try. We love our food for Oktoberfest as well. I did look up some really fun Oktoberfest facts. So last year they served over 64,000 sauerkraut balls.
Oh my gosh.
Who knew? Over 6,000 jumbo pickles, over 80,000 brats, over 23,000 soft pretzels, over 16,000 strudels, over 3,600 pounds of sauerkraut, 24,000 potato pancakes, over 87,000 Mets, over 20,000 cream puffs, which are divine. Hit up the Cervati station. Those are amazing. Or there's Schmidt's from up in the Columbus area that's usually down. 56,000 sausages and 1,800, I think, pounds of potato salad, I think is what they had. And this was on the Oktoberfest Zinzinnati. It was either that website or the Visit Cincinnati website that I found those stats, but I thought that was pretty impressive.
That's a lot of food. Is it set up? You said multiple tents, but is it set up like a beer fest would be, or are you getting full pints, liters, or is it more small tasters?
You can fill up your stein.
They have options. So
Yeah.
Not that everybody at home can see this, but there's a commemorative stein that you can get. You got to go early. If you're trying to go on Sunday and thinking you're going to get this stein, it's not happening. You got to go early in the weekend to get your stein. And there's a discount on refills if you get the stein usually. But yeah, it's uniquely decorated every year. This one was from 2022. It says Prost across the top. I think last year's cup celebrated one of the quintessential Oktoberfest events that kicks off Oktoberfest in Cincinnati. It's the running of the wieners. So people have their wiener dogs dressed in all sorts of costumes, racing in Cincinnati. So that's a quintessential event that you get to do there. You can also compete in stein holding, brat eating contests. There's a best dressed. Everybody likes to show up in their lederhosen. You know, they have multiple music stages, with local bands, you know, ranging from cover to polka. They have, you know, authentic German music. It's a great time. We love to do the chicken dance. I
Yes.
think in 2022, we also have the world's largest chicken dance. In 2022, when the cast of Hamilton was here, they did the chicken dance with everybody. So, you know, we like to have our celebrities join on in. So yeah, it's never a dull moment. And they have all sorts of hats that you can get. There's a chicken hat. There's a running of the wiener dog hat. They have great merch. But I think it's kind of set up. It'll be interesting to see how they do it this year. But in the past, it's been like a long street festival. You know, they have a bunch of food tents, and then spaced out with beer tents, and then spaced out with music venues where people kind of congregate, eat, and kind of check out the just what's going on and what they're doing. There's a lot of great spots to see. You know, originally it was, like I said, it was on 5th Street, so it was a very long event. The last couple of years they were doing it down on 2nd and 3rd Street, closer to the river. That it was kind of like in a rectangle. So this year on the riverfront will be interesting to see how they set that up. But expect a lot of tents with great food to try. It's a free event to come to. Bring your cash or your credit card for buying those beers and all those delicious food options. But yeah, there's a lot to do, and kids are welcome too. So if you're having any small ones that you want to join with you, but I do think they said no dogs, although they do have the running of the wieners. It is not a dog-friendly event, but kids are welcome.
It's been a couple of years since I went, but the last time I went there, and I'm looking at a picture right now that I took of the big Bitburger tent at there, and I had probably 3 or 4 steins of that Oktoberfest beer, and it was fantastic. And I don't think you even when you said the world's largest chicken dance, I'm not even sure you did it justice, because it literally is so crazy that it almost overpowers the beer because it's that crazy of a thing. And that's how big it is. Scott's looking at me like, what are you talking about? But yeah, the world's largest chicken dance at Oktoberfest in Cincinnati. It's really a big deal. It has been for years. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. And apparently this year they're doing a 14K or a 7K race if you would like to burn some calories during or before. I didn't read a ton into that, but that's on the 21st. So yeah, you can also get your exercise in before going to consume all of the wonderful delicacies that Oktoberfest has to offer. So
I'm glad you said before. I was assuming it was just going to be afterwards. And
I don't know if that would end too well.
Nobody finished the race. Nobody.
But yeah, it's a cool option. Being on the riverfront, Ubering's probably a great idea to go to that event.
That's a good idea.
You're going to have a lot of beer. You're going to want to try a lot of beer. We have the seasonal Oktoberfest beers that some will have, and some people will just have the regular old everybody's favorite too. So if they're there. But yeah, Oktoberfest definitely has an Instagram account. It's Oktoberfest Zinzinnati. We spell it with Z's. So yeah, if you follow along, they will hype that event up, and you can kind of follow along as they release the information the closer they get.
Did they say, is there a stat somewhere where it says how many people show up for this? Like, what is kind of the annual attendance?
Yes. So I can tell you that the first year Cincinnati did this Oktoberfest was in 1976. And last year the total, folks, was 808,300 people attended Oktoberfest Cincinnati.
It's massive.
Mm-hmm.
It is massive.
Yeah.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah. So with and that's throughout a couple of days. I don't know if that's, and it's over a 4-course day this time. So, that number might go up since in the past it's been a 3-day event.
Okay.
So, it's kind of cool. We love our beer drinking traditions in Cincinnati. We have a lot to pay homage to. Especially, with our brewery and brewing dates going back to the 1800s. So we like to honor that tradition and honor some German heritage. And man, if you haven't had a sauerkraut ball, you should definitely try one. It sounds weird, but
it's good stuff.
Very weird. Do you go to all 4 days, or obviously it's the first time they do it, but do you go every day?
I have not been every day before. Usually I try to go with my family. My family makes an event out of it. And then usually I hit it up again with some friends. So I would say usually at least 2 days on average. So yeah. I don't know. Plenty? I can't say I've been all 4, but maybe I should try. I mean, really, if you work downtown, what a great little spot. Like, you can't necessarily have beer, maybe on your lunch break on a Thursday or Friday. But you could pop down and, go get a brat and, whatever else you want, and kind of head back up to the office, and you can at least say you were there to, sample some of the culinary delights. So.
Very nice. It sounds like a bucket list thing. Well, it's definitely a bucket list thing for me.
Yeah, I like I said, I went a few years ago, and I had been many times, years ago. But one other thing I'll tell you, because Oktoberfest season is one of my favorite seasons when it comes to beer, and being that we're talking in this particular segment about Oktoberfest beer out of Cincinnati, I rated some of mine over the years, and I went through my list, and I'm like, okay, what have I really liked? And I remember a few years ago when I went to Wiedemann, and I had their Oktoberfest, and I rated that as a 4.25 on Untapped, and they had a really, really good Oktoberfest. So if you've not been to Wiedemann, go over there. Braxton also has a pretty good Oktoberfest. It's called Oktober Fuel that I rated as a 4 on Untapped. Rheingeist Franz also is pretty good. Rated that one as a 4. you had mentioned in a previous podcast that we did on some of your favorite Cincinnati breweries, Northern Row. I had picked up some Oktoberfest from them a while back, and that one was a really good one. Again, I rated that as a 4 on Untapped. And something we're going to talk about here in a moment, where you can go and get some really good German beer. The Hofbrauhaus over in Newport, Kentucky, they have an Oktoberfest that I had a few years ago. It was a winter lager that I really loved. And then even though it's sold in the stores and it's probably one of my most favorite Oktoberfest, I still have to give a shout out to Sam Adams because they have a brewery there in Cincinnati. And
even you mentioned that, there's multiple Oktoberfests in the city of Cincinnati. Obviously the big one is downtown, but we do have a couple of like smaller Germanian societies, the Donnerschwaben, Kolping. They all have several Oktoberfests as well. So not only can you attend the big one downtown, you can attend some of those smaller ones throughout the city. And some of the church groups also put on festivals for Oktoberfest as well. I mean, really, if you give a group an excuse to throw an Oktoberfest in Cincinnati, they're here for it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of places you can celebrate, and usually some of those smaller ones are not in the same weekend that the big one is. So you have the ability to, especially if you live in or near the area or trying to make a day trip here, you can experience multiple. So it doesn't just have to be the big one, but we love the big one. So
yeah, I think one of the most fantastic places, and I just mentioned I rated one of their beers, one of the most fantastic and unique places in the Cincinnati area, and I know it's been over in the Newport area, is the Hofbrauhaus. Liz, talk a little bit about your experience there.
The Hofbrauhaus is so fun. It's a great spot all year round. You see a lot of folks before Reds games stopping over there to have a beer. They have a beer garden outside with picnic tables. You can get these huge steins or smaller steins, depending on how thirsty you're feeling. Inside they have the big long tables, the long benches. And on the weekends when they have the bands playing, man, you stand up on those benches and you're swinging your stein, you're having a great time. So it's definitely something you should experience. It gives you a little bit of a smile on your face as you're laughing as you're doing it, but you got a big beer and you're just going, all right, we're going with it. So
that's what you got to do.
Very unique, modeled after the Hofbrauhaus in Germany a little bit too. So. And I think you can buy those souvenir giant mugs too to take home with you. So.
It would be smart on their part to sell them.
Yeah, I would highly recommend anybody that is from, even if you're in town, but if you're coming from out of town and you're going to Cincinnati for the Oktoberfest events, if you've not been to the Hofbrauhaus and you want that German experience around Oktoberfest season, go there because it's really a great place.
And it's actually pretty walkable to the main downtown Oktoberfest Zinzinnati. And I know I say walkable and people are like, what? There's a river. We have the Purple People Bridge, which, you can walk straight from Newport right over across, down to downtown Cincinnati, and it's going to spit you right into that festival. So, you could, have a little Oktoberfest pregame, get your day started at Hofbrauhaus, walk across the bridge and enjoy the festival across the river. So you could drive over there too with your Uber or your Lyft, but if you're trying to, again, burn some calories and you felt bad for not participating in that 7K race, just walk on over the river. It's really pretty, really breezy. You can see the best of both skylines.
Well, if you walk the bridge, you can justify having another beer. That's the way I would do it. Yeah. Oh, you've had enough. No, I'm walking the bridge.
Got to burn some calories. All right. Well, good deal, guys. Well, that's kind of the take on Oktoberfest season around Cincinnati. Welcome back to the final segment here of the Best of Oktoberfest. Steve Sullivan, along with Scott Touron. And, man, this has been a really fun episode, Scott, talking all about Oktoberfest beer. And we've also rated some Oktoberfest beers throughout this episode. I've had the Hofbrauer Oktoberfest beer, along with Sierra Nevada's Oktoberfest and the Rheingeist Franz. And what have you had again, sir?
All right, Spaten, Meadow by High Grain, and Oktoberfest from Wanderlinger out of Chattanooga.
Right.
So
yes,
3 very good beers so far.
All right. Now, our fourth one and our final one on this Best of Oktoberfest episode. You know, I saw this the other day in the store and I went, yeah, that's got my name written all over it. For the fourth one, I've got to go with something that says the ultimate Oktoberfest from Founders Brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, my friend. I have not had this, and I'm looking forward to having it now. How about you? What you got for me?
That is, well, before we go any further, I have that in the refrigerator downstairs, and it was going to be one of 4.
Okay.
And I skipped it because I had found some others. That is a barrel-aged.
Yes, it is.
And I believe it's like 9.4%.
Yep.
Shows it there on the side. Yeah. So I'm glad one of us brought it up here, and that I left it downstairs. So I can't wait to see what you think of that.
And what have you got for us?
All right. So reaching out of my cooler, and I saved this for last, and this is becoming one of my all-time, it may be at this point, all-time favorite fest beers.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of it here recently, and it's getting better with each one. It's the Nashville Brewing Company Fest beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it for so many reasons. It is so damn good.
It is so damn good.
Scott gave us a 6-pack of it. We were there last, and I just plowed through those on the way home. And then I had to go out and get some more. I'm kidding. I didn't drink them in the car. But they're gone, and I had to go get some more because it is one of my favorites of all time. So cheers.
It really is good. And cheers to Scott Murdy. Cheers to Nashville Brewing and Blackstone. And cheers to everybody out there that loves Oktoberfest beer and Oktoberfest season just like us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And here
awesome.
it is.
I could drink these.
I am now going to try the ultimate Oktoberfest from Founders Brewery. Here we go.
They have a lot to live up to if they're going to name it that.
Ooh. Yeah. It's pretty darn good.
Let's keep recording till you finish that bottle. I want to see the progression.
Oh, this is really good.
Yeah, I bet. Is it? Do you taste the 9.4? Does it taste boozy at all, or?
Oh, it tastes boozy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could taste the Oktoberfest, and you could take the barrel aged. It is really good. This is a great combination for a beer.
Where did you find that?
I found this at a wine and liquor store here in Laverne, Tennessee.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
I got the one over at Main Street Liquor over in East Nashville. That's why I found
All right. Yeah. All right. Well.
And this is good. Awesome. I've been rating this like a 4.2. I think we got a message the other day. Oh no, I got it. It was on Untapped, and it was Nashville Brewing. Like, what do we have to do to get you to rate this a 5? So I think it's working its way towards a 5. I just love it so much.
I know. I feel like the same way that I'm going to have to rate it a 5. Hey, we've been doing trivia throughout the entire episode, and I have one last trivia question for you before we close out this best of show today. Now, of course, this is based on the big Oktoberfest event they have every year in Munich, Germany. Are you ready, sir, for this one final question?
Sure. Give it to me.
All right. How much beer is regularly consumed during that Oktoberfest event? Is it A, almost enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool with Michael Phelps? No, I'm just kidding. It didn't say Michael Phelps. Is it B, enough to fill 3 Olympic swimming pools? Is it C, enough to fill 5 Olympic swimming pools? Or is it D, enough to fill 10 Olympic swimming pools.
Let's see. Considering I haven't been,
Yeah.
there would be more consumed. That would probably put it in the 10 swimming pool range if I were there. So I haven't been, so it's probably not there yet. I'm gonna guess. Ooh, what was B? It was 3 and 5. B and C were 3 and 5.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Is that B?
You are correct. And see, for people listening to this, are going to go, Steve gave Scott the answers. I did not.
No,
I did not.
We share Google Sheets, and this was not on there.
It was not. So the amount of beer consumed by Oktoberfest patrons at this event is 7.5 million liters, or close to 1.98 million gallons. That's enough to fill 3 Olympic swimming pools.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. But that's Oktoberfest season in a nutshell. We do want to tell everybody to make sure for all the Oktoberfest events, and really for any events in general, go to our website at Sullivan Touron BreweryAdventures.com. We have the complete list. We are your one-stop shopping for all Oktoberfest events all the time. You can go there.
And beer festivals in general in this area.
And beer festivals in general, that's right. And certainly so. That's a great thing. Hey, we also want to thank, in this episode, Grayson Miller, the owner of Crazy Gnome Brewery here in Nashville, for joining us. We also want to thank our good friend Joel Geier of the Brewery Travels podcast. You can go out and listen to him on social media. He travels the country and rates a lot of beer from breweries across the country. And also our good friend, the lovable Liz from Every Day I'm Bubbling from Cincinnati. She came on to also talk about everything about Oktoberfest going on this time of the year in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and she was a big hit for some people in Cincinnati, too.
She was. So we love her to death, and we're going to have her on again here real soon. But, we have drank some Oktoberfest beer during this episode.
All right.
Do you want to rate them? Which one is your favorite?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go, all right, favorite for me is Nashville Brewing. That's a given.
Yes.
I got to put the other ones. Now it's tough for different reasons. Okay, I'm going to go Spaten is second, High Grain, The Meadow is third, and Wanderlinger fourth, but not for any bad reasons. I just like 1 and 2 the most.
Okay.
So I've got Nashville Brewing Fest Beer, Spaten's Oktoberfest, High Grains Fest Beer Lager called Meadow, and Wanderlinger Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I like them all. Try every single one. Try every single one that I had. Try the Ultimate Oktoberfest from Founders. It's barrel aged. It's really good. I have never had a barrel aged Oktoberfest before that I can remember. Am I ranking it number 1? Well, maybe. Or you could try, if you have not had the Rheingeist Franz, you could try that one. Am I ranking that one number 1? Or you could try the one from Sierra Nevada, the Oktoberfest. And I'm ranking that one number 1. Or the traditional, the Hofbrauer Oktoberfest beer. Am I ranking that one number 1?
How will we ever know?
I am going to go with the Ultimate Oktoberfest because it says Ultimate on it.
Why the hell not?
And it's different for me because it is barrel aged, and I really like it a lot. And I would say the other ones are so close to being my number 2. But I love each and every one of them.
Of course.
There you go.
You can't get off the hook that easy.
I can't
2,
get
3,
off
and
the
4.
Easy. Yeah.
Come on, give me 2, 3, and 4. Come on, I did it. You gotta do it.
Right. 2 and 3, 4. That would be the Hofbrauer, the Franz, and the Sierra Nevada.
There you go. Those
All
in
right.
order. Nothing wrong with any of them.
Nothing wrong with any of them. Go out, get yourselves a whole lot of Oktoberfest, and we appreciate it that you've joined us today on this very special episode of All Things Oktoberfest Beer.
Yeah, this was fun to do with this episode and the one coming, well, the one that will be before this one when this one's finally heard. A couple well,
unless
let's put a couple of
unless you listen to this one first.
Right.
Well, listen to Scott Murdy first and then listen to us. So, actually, by the time you would get to us, yeah, that doesn't make any sense either. If you've gotten to us and you haven't listened to that one, well, go back and listen to that episode.
Guys.
Don't stop now.
Yeah.
Because we don't have much left of this particular episode. So keep listening and then go back to listen to Scott Murdy talking all things about the history of Oktoberfest.
We should have put a disclaimer at the beginning of this and said, if you've not listened to Scott Murdy's episode yet, stop right here.
Yeah.
Pause, go back to Scott Murdy's episode, and then come back to this one.
That's what social media is for. I love it. All right, everybody, we are getting out of here. We're going to be back soon. Remember to always follow us, Sullivan and Touron, breweryadventures.com, and follow us on Spotify. And for the Chancellor of Craft Beer, Scott Touron, I am the Chancellor of Oktoberfest Beer, Steve Sullivan, and this has been the Brewery Underground Podcast.
Don't forget to tip your servers. Prost.
Prost!